What's up, guys and girls? Today we're going to be taking a look at the Milwaukee M18 Fuel utility high torque impact wrench. Now this thing is specifically designed for linemen. Check it out. Alright guys, so before we head out for the day and try this thing out, let's take a quick look at exactly what we're going to be reviewing here. So this particular impact wrench is model number 2865 and it's 7/16 hex utility high torque impact wrench with one key. We're going to go over that closer to the end of the video. So first guys, let's take a look at the design. Coming in at about 7.5 pounds. It's not too heavy, it's not too light. This thing feels great. It's coated with lots of shock absorbing rubber around the battery, the handle, the casing itself. Makes the thing a little bit more durable. Great for an industrial setting, especially us linemen out there. They're always banging our tools around in the buckets and stuff. And it does have, right from the manufacturer, an attachment point so you can hang this thing off your belt without worrying about some homemade attachment or screws you put in there pulling apart, junking your brand new impact wrench. So one of the great things about these Milwaukee products, they all use the same battery. The charger is good for both the M18 and the M12 Fuel. And once you've got a few batteries, all you got to do is buy the tools. Without the battery, save yourself some money, you're good to go. So my previous impact wrench that I'd personally been using for the last couple of years actually looks and feels quite similar to this one. And it actually has a 20-volt battery. Now, these Milwaukee impact wrenches run off an 18-volt battery source, but they're supposed to be much faster than the competitors. This sucker puts out 750 foot-pounds of torque and 2,800 RPM. Competitors aren't even close to that. I think the highest I've seen was 1,900 RPM and 500 foot-pounds of torque. With that kind of torque, I should be able to change the tires on my car with this. Nice. Not quite up to the same speed as using your hydraulic impact wrench. However, not having to drag hose around is huge for having this kind of power. Let's test it out. All right, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna tighten these 5/8 nuts up as much as we can with this impact wrench. We wanna see how many foot-pounds we can actually put on this thing. One great thing about this impact wrench, right now there's a ton of torque on that thing. That's actually bending the washer into the pole, and yet I could still easily operate this with one hand. The hammer function of the impact wrench makes it a lot safer to use. It's not going to fetch up and break your wrist like the old 36-volt style drills that we had to use. All right, so we've got our torque wrench here. Let's start off with a modest 80 pounds of torque. Let's see what happens. All right, so there's more than 80 pounds on there. 90 pounds of torque. So we're all the way up to 140 foot-pounds of torque now. That does her there. All right, try that top bolt. And we still got a click. So somewhere's between 130 to 140 foot-pounds of torque on the nut and bolt itself. We're at 140 now, and oh, it's pretty close right there. Now at the start of the video, I did mention that this particular impact wrench is designed specifically for linemen. I'm going to show you why that is. So three things. One is the handle. If you compare that side by side with any other impact wrench, it's actually like about an inch longer in the handle. Now you know why that is? You guessed it. For use with our gloves. What other trade uses rubber gloves on a regular basis while they're working other than linemen? So they actually specifically designed the handle to be longer in order to accommodate for the extra space taken by working with rubber gloves. You get into class 2, class 3 gloves, no problem at all. Now another design feature is the quick lock. Check it out, you're working up in the air, you're hanging half upside down into your belt, standing on your hooks, you pull out your impact wrench, you gotta change that socket, wearing your rubber gloves, you go to lock that in place, you've actually got to lift the collar to get it to lock in place. Now with the Milwaukee M18 Fuel impact wrench and its quick lock design, you simply drop it in, boom, she's locked. That ain't coming out. That's probably my favorite feature of this impact wrench, actually. Even by the weight of the socket itself, it almost locks in place. It doesn't take much coaxing. There, it's locked now, and of course, we've got to lift the collar to pop it out. Now, one last feature which makes this impact wrench great for use by linemen is it's actually safe to use on up to 69,000 volts. Now, that's right from the manufacturer. You can use this thing on live line up to 69,000 volts without worrying about frying your batteries and destroying your equipment. So if you guys are looking at getting the 3-in-1 sockets as well, if you're on the distribution side of things, all you really need is this guy right here. This is the 3-in-1 distribution utility socket, hence the name, distribution lines. So this fella here, the socket sizes are 1 inch, 1 1/8, and 3/4. Yeah. So this pretty much covers everything you're going to be doing on a distribution pole. Most of our machine bolts we use are either 5/8 or 3/4. That covers your two top sides right there. You give that a little twist, and inside you've got your 3/4, which is good for 1/2-inch bolts. I've been using this guy a ton for the last month or so, and man, it is a lifesaver. When I go up in the air, I need my impact wrench, my drill, and my 3-in-1 socket. That's it. Unless you're going to be working on transmission equipment, don't worry about getting the 3-in-1 transmission socket. There's a reason this is called the transmission utility socket. This fella is huge. It's like the size of my hand. So our inside piece right here is good for 1 1/8 of an inch, which will also work on our 3/4-inch distribution bolts. Our main section right up here and right here, you're only ever going to use that if you're getting into like your 7/8 of an inch bolt or your 1-inch bolts. We typically only use those on very large structures, towers, golf course structures, using entire poles as cross arms. Yeah, that's when you get into the big stuff. So one last thing, guys, that we haven't looked at yet. A lot of these Milwaukee tools now have one key written on the side. It's actually Bluetooth enabled. So why would you need Bluetooth on a power tool? According to Milwaukee's website, it says, in addition to tool tracking and security, you can dial in precision settings, view utilization data, and get alerted before equipment needs repaired. All right, very cool. So it says you can connect your assets to your computer, tablet, or smartphone, access inventory wherever you go. Looks here like you can actually disable the tool from your smartphone. So I tried it out. We downloaded the app on my phone. It seems to work pretty good. It found my tool, no problem. All I did while it was searching, I'm not sure if it's required or not, but I gave it a little shot with the trigger, and you can see where it lit up the Bluetooth symbol in blue. So I just went into the Milwaukee One Key app, and I selected the button that says Lock Tool. So as you can see here, the battery is still full. When I press the trigger, the Bluetooth emblem is flashing red because the tool is currently locked. So I've actually disabled the tool from my phone. How cool is that? To sum it up, guys, this is a really great product. I highly recommend this impact wrench. Now, these tools aren't cheap, but that's because these tools aren't cheap. They're very well made. This is, don't forget, the utility grade. If I were able to make any improvements at all in the design, the tool is perfectly balanced over the handle. Now, anytime you're using an impact wrench, you're going to have something fitted into the end, whether it's a socket or a drill bit. So once that socket's on, obviously the front becomes quite heavy. Perhaps if the weight was shifted towards the back just a slight amount, it might help combat these real heavy sockets that are on the front end. Other than that, guys, this thing is great. I hope to use it for many years to come. Congratulations, Milwaukee, on designing the perfect impact wrench specifically designed for linemen. If you found any of my videos helpful at all, I'd appreciate if you consider subscribing, hit the like button, and we'll see you next time.